Hi, I'm Graham Carroll. This is the SMRC Esports Championship, your chance to go from virtual to real-life motorsport and take part in the SMRC Legends Championship. Go! Anyone can take part in the SMRC Esports Championship. All you need is an iRacing account and the drive to succeed. Drivers will battle it out across 4 qualifying rounds at iconic British tracks. Each event will consist of a qualifying session and a 20-minute race in identical Legends cars, so it's all down to your speed and your racecraft. Each event will be live streamed via the Scottish Motor Racing Club Facebook page. The top 10 point scorers from the qualifying rounds plus 4 wildcards will go through to a semi-final assessment at Knockhill Racing Circuit on the 2nd of November with myself and 2001 World Rally Champion Robert Reid. The semi-finalists will go through an assessment on the Scottish Motor Racing Club's simulators, a high-pressure hot lap shootout around the Knockhill kart track and an interview process. So from here, the judging panel will select the 2 drivers with the most potential to go through to the live final. 2 drivers will take to the stage for a thrilling sprint race using the Scottish Motor Racing Club simulators in front of a huge crowd, including some of the biggest names in Scottish motorsport. The winner of this race will be crowned the first ever SMRC Esports Racing Champion and will win a fully funded race meeting in the hyper-competitive Scottish Legends Car Championship. If you're up for the challenge, get signed up on the Scottish Motor Racing Club's website and get ready to race. Go!
Hello and welcome to the SMRC Esports Racing Championship live on Apex Racing TV. We're here at Brands Hatch for the final round of the season. I am Sam Fitzpatrick, and alongside me this evening to take you through the action is going to be Marco Barboneira. And Marco, so far it's been a superb championship. Top 10 drivers guaranteed a spot in the trials coming up in just a couple of months' time. It's a great opportunity for the drivers, and this championship is still wide open.
Absolutely. Hello everyone. Hello Sam. It's been my kind of championship, this one. Very short, very quick, not a lot of room for mistakes, and of course the great opportunity, the great prize on the horizon for these drivers as they are ready to tackle their final hurdle towards the semi-finals in Knockhill. And it's this Brands Hatch circuit, the Indy layout, a layout which I personally love, always provides for some fantastic racing, very close racing, and non-stop action. It's going to be the traditional format we have been used to in the past couple of weeks, so very short practice qualifying and then the 20-minute race to determine the final standings before the Knockhill semi-finals that are coming up later down the line. So, Sam, it's been the championship in the name of Kevin Ellis Jr., who has won all races, but certainly finishing in first position is good in the eye of the judges, especially when they will come to Knockhill with the jury will have to pick a decision for the 2 finalists, but it's not the end all be all, of course. I think in a certain sense the important part is just to get in, even though I think Kevin Ellis Jr., should he finish on top of the table, will start on the right foot going into Knockhill.
Yeah, definitely. He'll have a lot of confidence. I don't know how many drivers out here have real life experience. I'm sure a few of them have karted in the past. Maybe even some proper car racing as well that have got experience in, and that will certainly be very useful. By the way, just a quick rundown then of this whole format. So of course, 4 races. This is the final one. Top 10 point scorers plus 4 wildcards go through to the semi-final, and that'll be evaluated by Graham Cowell and also a 2001 World Rally Champion Robert Reed. And then the final round, after that, the top 2 drivers go through to a grand final on stage in Glasgow in front of the Scottish racing royalty, which is pretty cool. It's fantastic to see a championship like this happen. It's fantastic that SMRC gets involved in esports, because there's no doubt that this is the future of motorsports. It's certainly not going to crowd out everything else that we love about motorsports, but it's certainly a fantastic way to recruit drivers. And of course, whoever wins this will get the first round of the next season funded. And also, there's some prizes for second and third place actually as well. So certainly will be worthwhile for these drivers to have a go at the trials in the semi-finals and see if they can yield some kind of reward. Drivers currently in practice, so we've got 10 more minutes of practice, then we'll have a 10-minute qualifying. Then, like Marco said, we will have a 20-minute race to decide this. Marco, before this, we went into the session, you were very enthusiastic about the Brands Hatch Indy circuit, and I guess this is one of the most appropriate circuits for this Legends car. I guess this place isn't too dissimilar to Knockhill with the high elevation changes and also the relative shortness of the circuit.
Yes, and not dissimilar to an oval racetrack, of course. In fact, when Champ Car came here, we were talking about this during last night's broadcast of Sim Racers World. When Champ Car came here the final time, they used, for all intents and purposes, this track was considered an oval, so they used the rule set that they would use on an oval racetrack. And you know, these cars are pretty versatile, pretty good both on road courses and on ovals. Of course, in this part of the world, we tend to use them on road courses. And so this track provides a bit of a mixed challenge. Of course, it's well and truly a road course and not an oval, but you get it very, very close. Very, very short lap times, and there's not too many places where you can make the difference, which means that consistency is going to be key, and staying out of trouble also will be very, very, very important, as per usual, but more so today, because you would really hate to miss out on the top 10 for just a couple of points. And yes, there are the 4 wildcards, but it would be better, I think, in my opinion, to be sure of being in the top 10.
Yeah, definitely. They'll still fancy their chances. Not quite sure when those wildcards will be announced, but I'm sure in plenty of time. And if you're sitting in 11th place, you're going to have a decent chance. In terms of the championship, of course, we know that Kevin Hurst Jr. Absolutely dominating. 3 wins out of 3. It's close in practice at the moment, so he could be pushed this evening. And as Marco was saying, this circuit, it's difficult to make the difference. So maybe some of the other drivers will be able to get a little bit closer to Kevin. And if he makes a mistake in particular, they could be pouncing on that. So it's Ellis leading the way. Then it's Grossman. Ross isn't here today. He's in 4th place. He should have enough points to qualify anyway. And then Butcher, Coulson, Harper. Brazier is currently in 8th place, but he's not here either, and he's only 12 points clear of 11th place. So that could be quite close. Van Loosenholt also isn't here. Williamson sits in 10th place. He's almost certainly going to get through, as he's certainly very quick. You can almost put your money on him to score a handy amount of points today. And then it's Gary Brown, Ben Craner, Chris Daines and Michael Weddle rounding out the top 15, but pretty much everyone has got a chance. You need approximately, currently top 10 is 19 points. So if someone who hasn't raced so far this season wins today, I mean, they could qualify right there. And of course, they're standing a pretty good chance with the wildcard as well. So it's totally open, and we will try to keep you up to date with everything that's going on in the championship over the course of qualifying and the race. Because, yeah, it could be very tight by the end of the evening. I don't know what the tiebreakers is. I imagine it's whoever has the best result but we will have to wait and see when it comes to that. Ellis Jr. just approaching the line. Of course, it's just practice, so it doesn't matter too much these lap times that they put in. But Ellis with a 52.8 would be fast enough for fastest time, but he's gone even faster than that earlier on in the session.
So, while we are at it and while the drivers are still in practice, maybe it's the first time that people are watching this kind of racing. So, let's give you a very quick and dirty guide on these peculiar looking race cars that you are seeing on your screens right now, because despite the 1930s style bodies, these are very much modern day race cars. They are both cheap but also very technologically advanced, and they are racing all over the world since 1992 when they first started, the legend cars. Of course, many iterations of the car until today, and super popular all over the world, North America, Europe, Australia, and even Italy has some Legends racing apparently, even though I still have to see it come near my local racetrack. But it's there, and it provides for a very relatively cheap entry level option in motorsport. This is powered by a motorbike engine, a Yamaha engine, 1250 cc, 5-speed gearbox, 122 horsepower, which doesn't seem like much, but it's such a lightweight car. It can reach very high speeds, and that sound, that high revving motorbike engine, it's absolutely a joy, and it's a pleasure to jump on board with these cars during the broadcast.
Yeah, certainly different to what many of these drivers will be familiar with, but I think Alex Simpson said it in the first round. I mean, it is a race car. You drive it as fast as possible. It's not rocket science. And this thing, whilst it handles quite differently, these drivers will still be trying to get the absolute most out of it. You can see, yeah, very narrow car. Acceleration isn't incredible, but of course very lightweight. You can really throw it about. Need to keep a lot of smoothness, of course. That's the mistake that a lot of people make with the cars in iRacing. Maybe try to, for example, the high power cars like the NASCARs and the V8 supercars. They kind of throw them about when actually pretty much in every single car it's all about the smoothness, and that's what Jack Air is trying to do at the moment, taking big arching lines through each of these corners. He's currently sitting in 6th place. It looks like we're going to have about 14 drivers, as far as I can see, taking qualifying. And these drivers have put in a lot of laps already in practice. 22 laps now for Jack Air he's completed. Do you reckon any tyre degradation, Mark? I realise in a 20-minute race it's not going to be too significant, but 44 degrees track temperature right now, and there's some pretty long corners around this place which could harm the tyres a bit.
It could be an issue, as Scott Brazier is in the session finally, so one of the drivers who's on the bubble. You are absolutely right, the temperature, which we can show to you right now, you were saying 44 degrees Celsius track temperature is quite hot. It's almost 2 p.m. It's a racing day, the 50th of May, of course, so that we all know, of course, about that. But also it's a sprint race. One thing we can say about these cars, and I think why they are the perfect choice for this championship, not only the fact that they are very versatile, but also the fact that they are used in the real life championship in Scotland, of course. It's the fact that they are very sturdy, very resistant. We have seen some pretty major door banging, over the course of the season. But I think that this is a good testament to this car. You can fight, of course, within the laws and the rule book, what the rule book says, but it's not a car that you look at it and it breaks, which makes it for drivers have a little bit more freedom, especially in a track like this. It will be of the utmost importance to have good physicality when needed.
Yeah, definitely. And it's good that the drivers can properly race one another. especially around these smaller circuits where perhaps the slipstream effect isn't going to be too big. You do have to come from a decent way back, so it's good that they can go for these moves quite so aggressively. By the way, just a little info on the real life series, which of course these drivers will be able to take part in one round next season, round one. One of these guys will win an entry fee to race in that. Most of the rounds are at Knockhill, also Anglesey, which I'm not totally familiar with, I must say. But yeah, the vast majority of the rounds are at Knockhill. Any other Scottish circuits, by the way, that we should be aware of, please let us know. I did have a bit of a Google search for them, but not many came up. But I mean, Knockhill is a famous circuit, and of course, is one of the few circuits in the world which can be run clockwise and anti-clockwise very happily. It's not even like necessarily, I think the clockwise is slightly preferred, but the anti-clockwise is absolutely designed for the circuit. So no, you can mix it up. Certainly, it's almost two trucks in one, which is very good. Jack here, just taking a slightly unusual line down that pit straight. We've got 1 more minute until practice concludes. Drivers can enter this session all the way up to when qualifying is complete. And yeah, just waiting for drivers to improve a little bit. In terms of the, we've already looked at the weather a little bit, but in terms of the time, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so it could get a little bit cooler. 23 degrees currently the air temperature.
I don't know about the Anglesey racetrack, but I know where Anglesey is, which maybe for an Italian is a bit surprising.
I mean, I don't know where Anglesey is.
Oh wow! I
Sorry, is this like the beacon of Earth or something? I'm now gonna have to Google it.
It's nothing related with Doctor Who, I can tell you. It's related to Roman history and, of course,
Okay.
basically the infamous, assault and basically, total elimination of the Romans of the old druidic religions. There was a very very big, battle there, and the Romans surprised the unsuspecting druids there, and that basically 60 AD. That was the basically signal the difference between the old and the new, the secondary part of the history of Britannia. But enough of that. Even though I find it very interesting, qualifying
It
is
certainly is.
underway.
Yeah, just going up into the next session. So yeah, 10 minutes. Drivers can set as many lap times as they like, and there will be quite a few. Difficult to kind of get correct in terms of the tyres. You want them to be in the absolute optimal range. This using the old tyre model. I don't know if you call it the old tyre model or the current tyre model. Yeah, it's not the new one, safe to say. And so these tyres tend to be at their very best when they're out of the blankets. You want to have quite a slow formation lap, as Peter Butcher is doing, or quite a slow warm-up lap, and then you got that first lap, which should be your strongest. But it is such a short circuit, the tyre should still be half decent for your second lap. Or you could fuel up the car a little bit and just keep on pounding around, have a few more attempts at it. We'll see what the drivers opt to do.
So some of the pit stalls are behind the start-finish line, so you will see already some lap times trickling in. Those are not very relevant. The next bunch of lap times will be relevant, and there will be a more realistic comparison. Ronald Koosman, I think, is the first driver close to setting a significant time, and here he comes. He's been followed very closely by Jack here. Oh man, here we go again. We finally found the last name that throws me for a loop. So at least there's that. Koosman goes on provisional pole, and Air is in second place.
That's a really good lap from Grossman. That would have been fast enough for fastest time in practice. So he's upped his game. Can this guy up his game? It's Kevin Ellis, and he does. So he goes about a 1.5 hundredths faster than his practice time and takes pole position by 4 100ths of a second. Certainly Grossman seems to be a challenger for him today, but does Ellis Jr. just have that extra percentage perhaps that he needs? Guzman going for another lap late, the car number 90. And it's not going to take a whole lot for him to move up into pole position, which so far this season has proved to be pretty important, with S Jr. getting pole and the race win. That's all 3 rounds.
The lap for Golsman, he comes home, does not improve, 53.0. And so it's almost like, with the fact that there is not a lot of, track to cover, you go out, quick lap, come back in. At least this seems to be the modus operandi right now. Here comes Fraser Williamson. No time set for him thus far, and he jumps into 3rd position, 0.3 of a second away from Kevin Ellis Jr.
Yeah, and he would like to score a few points. I said you could put money on him scoring points. I mean, anything could happen. He could totally be wiped out or something, but he's certainly got the pace, at least, to get a few points. But something like an 8th or 9th would be plenty enough. I believe they are using the FIA point system, so 25, 18, 15, and so on. Or they might be using the motorbike one, not quite sure. But you kind of get the point. They won't be around that 7th, 8th region, and he should be fine. Ellis stopping.
Yeah,
And
park
we'll
for
take back
first
to the
sector,
pits.
bad 2nd sector, so he said that's enough. Dave Christie is also trying to set a valid lap time. He is without such accomplishment so far, the number 10 car. As Peter Butcher goes up into 3rd place and parks the car. Straight away he will go for another round. Only 10 minutes left, but once again, sorry, only 10 minutes qualifying, 5 minutes left basically, but you can afford to go back to the pits and come out. You will have plenty of time to do have another go at it as Golsman comes home. Not an improvement. Let's see if Christie can find finally a valid lap time around the final corner in this distinctively livered yellow and blue Hellmann's car. My favorite brand of mayonnaise, if you were curious about it. And I'm not a paid spokesperson.
I mean, I'm not sure many other companies, to be fair.
13th place for Dave Christie. Oh!
Oof, wow, and almost onto the roof, and that's a heavy impact. Fortunately, they can get a brand new car, and not too bad. But yeah, that was Ellis involved in that one. So he has sent back, may do 1 less lap, but you can see straight away back on his route. By the way, we'd just like to say hi to the Scottish Motor Racing Club, and also, of course, the Apex Racing TV Facebook page as well. We've just gone live on Facebook. Apologies for the late start. But you're still going to be able to see the majority of qualifying and all of the race, which hopefully is the most important thing.
Yes, thank you to Lee Thompson and Alex Simpson for their work behind the scenes to get the fake Facebook streams working, and welcome on board, and hopefully you will enjoy the show as Williamson comes home with another lap, and it's not an improvement. So far you have missed the first half of qualifying, but the meat is still yet to be delivered on your plate, hopefully, with this 20-minute race just about to start. Peter Butcher trying to improve, Golsman as well, but Butcher will come first. And he improves himself, but he still stays in 3rd, even though it's very close at the top. Of course, you were pointing something very important, Sam. That crash probably will give Kevin Ellis Jr. 1 less chance. Here comes Golsman, does not improve, and here is Ellis, who is on a fast lap, trying to improve, but the first sector is not good. 2nd sector better.
Yeah, really good 2nd sector. Purple, think about a 10th faster than anyone else has been able to manage so far. Really different lines you can take around that final corner. You can see he takes a very tight one. Wants to run as little meters as possible to the line. Can Ellis improve? Yes, he can, by 2/100ths of a second. You feel as though he is absolutely maxing out that Legends car. There's not a whole lot left in that thing. if Grossman can beat this, then that would be mega impressive. He doesn't take the same line as Ellis, and that was because it was on an outlap. So he didn't need to take a particularly short line. But this has pretty much got to be perfect for him to get much closer to Ellis.
In the track map, we can see that he has a clean track ahead. So it's a very good chance for him. First sector 53.0, so not very quick.
11.38.
Oh,
that was
dear.
his last lap, yes.
Yes. So the same.
I mean, that would be a very long first sector. It would have to be a mighty second and third sector if he were to recover from that. But personal. Well, no, it's not personal best. He's
Butcher is
I
having
think he's
a good
about
lap.
a 10th down at the moment.
Oh wow, what a jinx! Butcher was
yeah,
improving
it was good.
First and second sector, and then in the very final corner, he decided that for some reason that was not good enough, which is a bit surprising. Kevin L is going for one final round of qualifying. Here he comes. Also, I will use this, this very, very brief window before the race starts to remind you that after the end of the race, you can switch to the the iRacing Esports network or to Apex Racing TV's Twitch page to follow the Apex Racing League TCR series. So don't miss that.
Yeah, 50-odd cars entered in that series. And mega competitive. Some decent prizes as well for the winners of that, and is mega entertaining. Sam Coulson trying to improve on 9th place. It seems like Grossman's not going to be able to get another lap in. By the way, just looking at the point system as well, it is MotoGP points. I don't know if that's what you actually call it, but it's 25, 20, 16, 14, 12, 10, 9, and then all the way down to 1 after that. So top 15 get points. And so if you can get a top 10, then you're really going to give yourself a decent chance at escalating some positions. So really is very open for a lot of these drivers. So Grossman is going to complete this lap. Check flag is out, so the drivers can complete the lap that they started. And, I mean, if he can take pole position here, this would be a mega effort from him. Across the line he goes, and unfortunately it's another 53. Really couldn't get particularly close to that original 52.8, and you can see his frustration out there. I think maybe just the track getting slightly worse, maybe a little bit slicker as the rubber gets put down. Sometimes that helps the drivers, sometimes it hinders them a little bit. Perhaps in these hot conditions, it's more the latter than anything. Jack Air currently sitting in 7th place, should be safe in the top 10 in the point standings and can improve by just a couple of tenths of a second. He could be lining up on the second row of the grid. He comes past the enthusiastic checkered flag man, and he does actually move up to 5th place, so 3rd row of the grid. He was only 1/100th off, beating Fraser Williamson.
So very close to the top. I think the closest qualifying session of the season, especially the top 3, they are very, very close to each other. Alpha 10th between 1st and 2nd, and 1/10 between 2nd and 3rd. Of course, the short lap helps, but it's going to be a big fight at the top of the standings and at the end of the standings, of course, for those final positions in the top 10, as we are just about ready to give you the starting grid.
Yes, and on pole position then, once again, it is a proper lookout then for Kevin Ellis Jr. He takes pole by 6/100ths of a second ahead of Ronald Grossman. Peter Butcher lines up on the second row of the grid ahead of Fraser Williamson. Then it's Jack Air, Scott Brazier, Ben Craner, Gary Brown, Sam Coulson, Sam Harper, Scott Smith, Scott Hunter. That's fantastic. T. Samson, T. Scotts. You could not write it. Dave Christie, Brian McKay Savage, and Alan Gordon. 15 drivers, so as long as you finish, you will get points. I'm not quite sure what the rules on finishing is, but no, they've got a good chance. So we will try, like I said earlier on, to have some kind of idea of what's going on in the championship, who it looks like is going to finish in the top 10. Of course, even if you don't finish in the top 10, you do get 4 wildcard entries. So any points that you can pick up could really help your chances in reaching the semi-final stage. Of course, Fraser Williamson currently on 19 points. He's in 10th place. Kane Halliburton, the next best with 12. He's not here today, but Gary Brown is. And if Gary Brown finished where he is right now, I think he might just get into that top 10 by my reckoning.
And so we are just about ready to roll for the pace lap. And drivers will follow the racing Porsche safety car, and we are rolling. Pole position sorry, is on the inside. There's a train of cars behind our race leader, and most of them are teammates, so gotta be maybe some strategy at play, trying to do something to help each other out. Beautiful sound of these cars. We have two drivers who are in the pits, Scott Brazier and Ben Crenor. Hopefully they will take the start regardless.
Yeah, they started in 6th and 7th places, so they've lost those pretty good positions on the grid. Brazier has lost connection to the server. Hopefully he will take part in this race and score some points at least, because he does need them to guarantee his entry. So then, race 4 of the season. Ellis, can he make it 4 out of 4? Who's going to finish in the top 10 in the championship? We are getting underway here at Brands Hatch Indy, and Foy already pulling away from the rest of the field is Ellis. Can Grossman hold on against Butcher going into turn 1? He will do, but it's Williamson actually trying to get past Butcher. Round the outside into turn 2. He's going to have to go the long way round. Is third place going to just get a little bit caught up? He almost spins it, does the 82 car. Brilliant save though from Butcher, and somehow he holds on to third place. Or will he? Fraser Williamson still side by side into Graham Hill Bend, and they are maintaining that side by side, but a poor exit from that corner. Is the driver behind going to make it through? Why does the correct thing at just staying in right behind his teammate, and Williamson might just have to give up right at the end of this lap. He puts his nose down the inside, makes a little bit of room for himself, and this battle is going to maintain going on to lap 2.
So news from Scott Brazier, unfortunately hardware failure on the grid, whilst Ben Crenor is back on the track. So he took the start at last, but bad luck for Scott Brazier, of course, as the drivers are now trying to slot into somewhat of a single file, and saying that we have 3 wide here, and Williamson on the inside jumps into third place in front of Butcher, Ear and Corson, the 3 teammates.
Yeah, so Butcher, Air and Corson. See Smith just at the back of this as well. Smith, another Joe who needs to score a few points to get into the top 10. Not the easiest overtaking track in the world, this, by any means, but you can go for a couple of surprise moves, a few wide entries to some of these corners where if you take the racing line, you do leave yourself a little bit vulnerable. And you can see the slipstream effect in this Legends car is just dragging these guys a little bit closer to one another, almost a move for the final podium place. Remember, Williamson really does need a few points to guarantee that place, so I wonder if there's, or guarantee that semi-final place. So I wonder if he'll be a little bit more conservative, and that might be a good plan for him.
The outside looking is Butcher. Williamson is trying to shut the door. Good run here from Butcher, but now we will have to deal with being on the outside for the final corner. A little bit of banking there will work in his favor. There we go, on the outside, the number 82 seems to have the moved on, and so he does. A little bit sideways is Williamson. Here comes Jack Hare, maybe trying to profit. Rethink Racing trying to pass at least 2 of them past Fraser Williamson.
Yeah, Williamson from attack to defence. He's still not too far behind the third place driver, to be fair. Again, the cutback now is there, and Williamson going to have to go to the middle of the circuit. Air goes for a bit of a dummy, gets his car on the inside. That is brilliant racecraft there from Jack Air. Williamson, like we saw earlier on though, the outside line works decently for you, but he does drop down into 5th place, and Of course, he was running in 4th, made up to 3rd place fair and square with a good move, but has been going backwards since. He has to be careful of the drivers behind. Still plenty enough points for him to get through. You can see Scott Smith, a real beneficiary of this. I mean, so much about staying up ahead that he is staying up very nicely. I ought to ask, Marco, who actually is the Butcher Air Corson team? I'm not familiar with it.
Rethink Racing.
Aha, thank you very
So,
much.
you're welcome.
I mean, I really ought to do some research before these, but there you go. Marco always bailing me out.
Still here in front of Williamson, as I see, coming out of the pits, it's Scott Brazier. Of course, several laps down, but he will do his best to bring the car home and maybe, you know, profit from someone else's misfortunes at this point.
Yeah, and he should be fine in the championship as well. He will probably finish something like 8th, 9th, maybe 10th in the championship, but he should just about have enough points anyway. And of course, we should get 1 point should he finish today. No retirees so far in this race. By the way, issue for Ben Crano, the reason why he didn't take the starts earlier on was because apparently the timer, they had 2 minutes to get onto the grid, and at 38 seconds it just advanced anyway. So a bit of an unusual issue there, and that was why he did not take the start. He was not expecting the green flag to go quite so quickly as Savage is into the wall. Fortunately, not too heavy a hit, but that does drop him down into 14th place. He was running in 9th.
Let's get a replay of that. In the first corner, sliding, then saving the car, but then sliding again. It's almost, you know, the Rev Match Racing crash.
Yes.
From last night. Oh, Rev Match Racing Esports.
I think it's
Now
just Deathmatch Esports. I got told off for saying it wrong, and I still can't remember what it's going to be.
I was sure of myself, and then I thought about you the last week, not knowing the name or not remembering the right way to say it, and that put me, in an uneasy position. Here comes on the inside Williamson, using a little bit of those bumpers to make his way through. He successfully does so, albeit temporarily, and here comes Air with a counter attack, and I think brilliantly he gets back his 4th position. Some very nice racing with Sam Corson, of course, waiting in the wings should anything happen.
It is Match Esports, by the way. Just had to double check. Of course, Martin was running in this series earlier on in the championship and currently occupying 9th place. Unfortunately, not taking part today. Would have been fantastic to see his skills, but he does live in the Netherlands. So, I mean, to be fair, it's not too bad a trek to Scotland, but maybe a little bit too far for him to commit to the semi-final stage. Savage makes up 1 place then. He's up into 13th place. In the championship, Savage is currently 17th. He needs to score... Wow, he actually needs to score about 15 points if he's going to get into the top 10. So that would be something like 4th place. So that's probably not going to happen. But, of course, if he can finish in 11th or 12th place in the championship, his chances of a wildcard spot would significantly improve.
Another lap in the books. Kevin Ellis Jr., Ronald Gosman, Peter Butcher, your top 3. Jack Hare, Fraser Williamson, round up to top 5. Sam Corson, like I said, waiting in the wings. This very close battle for 4th place. And you see the different lines being taken by these drivers as they go down the hill into this very, very, very big passing opportunity at the hairpin. You can see these are not slick tires, these are threaded tires. So the amount of grip that you get is, not the best you could possibly have with these kind of road-style tires, and that's something to consider, of course.
Yeah, will certainly affect the handling of the car, as Air just runs a little bit wider than his rival. That's even vulnerable because no turbulent air whatsoever in these cars, no aerodynamic downforce. So it's great that they can stay absolutely nose to tail all the way. And just if you can stay within maybe 0.2 of a second, then the slipstream effect really does drag you along. That's what part of the reason why these cars are such good for racing. Down the inside goes Fraser Williamson, and he does get back that position finally up into 4th place. Decent run out of that corner for air, but really not enough to mount another attack. But you can see out the amount of time that Williamson has lost to the drivers ahead. Sam Smith, by the way, currently lying in 14th place in the championship, currently in 7th place in this race, which would be something like 8 points, I believe. 10 or 8 points, which would help him out quite a bit. In fact, currently he's sitting in 18th place in the championship. If he finished like this, then he would move up to about 12th. But at the moment, it's apart from maybe Gary Brown, no one is going to be able to move up into the top 10, despite a couple of the drivers in that top 10 not being able to attend this round. Here is Gary Brown then, so he needs about 8 points for him to move up. Probably 10 points really to be comfortable, I think. And here he goes down the inside. Very good switcheroo there for Brown. And he just about moves up into 11th place, which would be 5 points. So not enough currently for Gary Brown. Needs to move up a couple more places.
Overtake here from Ben Creenor. He went past Scott Hunter, who went very wide. Then had a little bit of a moment there, the car pointing towards the barrier, which is never a good thing to do. As this battle here in front continues, with Williamson and Air getting their best lap of the race, their personal best. Corson trying to follow closely. Alan Gordon with a little bit of an issue, but nothing major there. And at the front is still Kevin Ellis Jr. He's got 3 seconds over Ronald Postman. And then he has 2 more seconds, so 5 in total over Peter Butcher.
Yeah, they spread out significantly in the early stages, and since then just dragging apart slightly. Still Air staying right on the tail of Williamson. That might just be the slipstream effect, and also, of course, just the fact that you're following another driver can be good for some drivers, can be a little bit negative for others, but it does help to almost have that reference point right in front of you, and can encourage you to go a little bit faster.
And if things go wrong, you have an extra braking power to your car.
Yes, exactly, yeah. It's the tightest battle currently out on circuit. By the way, Scott Brazier, it's such a shame that he missed the start, because he was actually the 2nd fastest driver on the entire circuit on that last lap. Unfortunately, he's 4 minutes off the lead, about 3 laps down. So, great disappointment for him.
Halfway through, past halfway through at this point, 11 minutes, 41 seconds on the clock. Williamson, Aaron Corson still battling it out. Now we have Sam and Scott, 6, 7, 8, and... Oh no, Ben Creenor ruining the fun.
Oh dear.
So, yeah. But this is the closest battle on the field, and let's jump on board for a bit with Jack Hare.
Needs to make sure he doesn't push those tyres too much. Certainly don't want to scrub them too much, otherwise, yeah, you're really going to lose quite a lot of grip. Once again, that smoothness factor ever so important. He's trying to take different lines to the driver just ahead. Tries to kind of do anything to get that a little bit closer. At the moment, he's just a little bit too far behind. He needs to be within probably 0.2 of a second going onto the pit straight. That time he was just over 0.3 of a second behind. And whilst he does close by about 1/10 of a second due to the slipstream, it's not enough. Of course, these drivers all using the fixed setup, so there's absolutely no difference in these cars whatsoever. It's all about the drivers, which personally I'm a big fan of. Even though arguably fixed setups does help some drivers because it fits some drivers' driving styles and not others, it certainly takes out that ambiguity when it comes to the setups. Everyone knows that they're on a level playing field. Here comes Air. gets a couple of cutbacks. Really good run down the back straight. Williamson will keep his car in there for about the third time. These two are going side by side. Air sides, and Williamson taps him round. Air will get back going thanks to Corson tapping the front of his car round. And I think Williamson lets Air go, which is very good, but that could have been very dangerous.
Let's get a replay from the chopper and see it once again. Too bad, because it was a fantastic battle. You see Williamson, they both made a mistake. Williamson ran into the grass and Air lost the car on the outside. In the end, the two mistakes met together, and now Williamson sliding sideways. Of course, those tires don't like being this new tire model V6 doesn't really like being slid around left and right, especially in these high temperatures. And in the end, it was Corson who profited from this. But seems like this fight between Air and Williamson is still on, as Gary Brown about to put on another move, this time on Scott Hunter. Very nicely done.
Yeah, Brown moves up into 10th place, so getting a few more points at the moment. This is turning into a better race for him. Smith versus Harper. Smith needs all the points he can get. Probably won't get into the top 10, but like I said quite a few times, sorry about banging on about the championship, but you know, this is a big prize for these drivers, a great opportunity. Sam Harper certainly going to qualify for the top 10. 52 car moves up into 7th place. Smith down into 8th. Craner another 3 seconds behind, so Smith should be okay from this point onwards. And Harper might even fancy his chance of catching up to Aaron Williamson, especially with the way that they've been fighting for this entire race. They could leave some scraps for the driver behind to gobble up later on.
Race leader Kevin Ellis Jr. 53.1, 53.2 for Goldsman, 53.3 for Butcher. This is the top 3. As we're heading into the final 5 minutes, seems like the Apex Racing team and former one-time 1050 Barbanera Racing driver Kevin Ellis Jr. is about to bring home the 4th victory of his season, and certainly entering into Knockhill with some very good results on his resume.
What race did he enter with you guys? Was it Sebring?
Daytona 24
Daytona.
of 2019. Yeah. Well, he did fantastic, especially because one of our drivers forgot to wake up for his night stint, so he drove like 4 stints in a row. And now I'm laughing about this, but the ironic thing is that our race ended when, out of all the drivers, Ashley Beard, which of course is what barba means in Italian, in English, spun in front of us with like a couple of hours left. So Blackbeard into Beard, and that was the end of our race, and of course of the Excite Energy GT entry.
I think it did mean, though, that Apex Racing Team won that DP race. So, I mean, you're taking one for the Apex group, safe to say, which was very good. I think they won that race. They certainly won Sebring. May have won Daytona as well. Williamson once again catching up, 0.6 of a second now, the gap. Still Smith relatively close to Harper, but that gap is slowly increasing at the moment. This is the closest battle currently out on circuit. Gary Brown back into the pits. That is very significant. Was running in 10th place. But if he can't return to the pits, then he's going to be potentially falling all the way down into 15th. Oh, wow.
I was looking at the event viewer and nothing made me think about a crash or something like that. So I went in and wanted to check his car at the pit entrance moment to see if he had some damage. And I was very shocked, just as you see the plumes of smoke coming. As we can see, Alvio Lampis, of course, is talking about legends in Italy. So apparently they really do exist. I was not making that up. And I would love to have a run in one of these, just to jump on board and listen to this engine note, which is absolutely fantastic.
It certainly feels very much like a race car course. Of course, GT cars convert to kind of from road cars, but this is outs and outs, totally down to racing. So yeah, it must be absolutely great fun to take part in. Oh, but just dropping in and out currently of the server. Hopefully that connection hangs on to the end of the race. So Brown, of course, will be out of the race. So that means that Brazier will gain another place. So Brown's championship challenge not helping him too much that, and it doesn't help his chances for the wildcard. Although he was very unlucky and he was driving very well. So certainly will be in the organisers' considerations for a spot in that final 14. We've got this lap then, and one more after this. Pete Butcher slowly catching up to Ronald Grossman. He's been slowly catching up to him for the entire race, 1/10 of a second faster that last time round. He's 1 second behind. If he maybe had 5 more laps, he could feel as though he could just about make it. But I think from this distance back, he's not going to quite. And considering that they're teammates, I doubt he's going to make any rash moves.
I'm thinking about Sebring just very quickly, and I'm thinking Kevin Ellis was the guest driver for our team in Daytona, and the guest driver in Sebring was Johan Hart, who now as well is a part of Apex Racing team. So yeah, that's a bit of foreshadowing there. But of course, the important thing happened in the 10th split that day. So I think we are into the final lap of the race. Kevin Ellis Jr. Marching towards his 4th victory in a row out of 4 rounds, and clinching in a very, very convincing fashion the top step of the championship. He's having some fun as Williamson goes wide, and he will celebrate another race victory. Hopefully he will come in for an interview with us tonight as he takes the final corner, sealing a fantastic regular season heading into the semi-finals.
Yes, it's going to be 4 out of 4. He's no doubt the favourite going into the semi-finals, but Kevin Ellis Jr. will bathe in his glory for now. He wins at Brands Hatch Indy, and he wins comfortably. Over 5 seconds clear of the rest of the field. Grossman and Butcher round out the podium. Corson, Air, Williamson will confirm his place. It was a little bit on the edge, but 6th place will be plenty enough points for him to move through. Harper will finish in 7th place. Smith, has he done enough to convince the organisers? He will certainly be in the mix, won't be in the top 10, but one of the favourites for a wild card. And then the rest of the drivers will also cross the line as well. So, Marco, I guess it's a bit disappointing. It's you said earlier on, short seasons. You're a big fan of them. I'm a big fan of them as well. But I mean, 6 or 8 rounds. It's a little bit disappointing that this has come to an end after just the 4. But it's been short and sweet, no doubts about it. And this format, 20-minute race in the Legends car, it's pretty basic. But I think with the tracks that we've visited, I think it's been a superb series.
It has been, absolutely, I agree with you. And now for these drivers, of course, the top 10 will go home happy and celebrate. Those who are out will have to wait, and it will be a nervous waiting for them. And I can only imagine their excitement when 4 of them will get the call for the semi-finals at Knockhill, and of course now then the big prize, the 1 versus 1 final at the SMRC Annual Awards ceremony later down the road. It is a great opportunity for all of these drivers. A pleasure to bring this to you. And who knows, maybe we have just seen among these drivers a star of the future in real racing. Who knows? But before getting too much ahead of ourselves, Sam, here we go with the race results for this 4th and final round of the regular season.
Yes, and it's Kevin Ellis who wins by 5.5 seconds ahead of Ronald Grossman. Peter Butcher rounding out the top 3. Then Sam Corson, Jack Eyre, Fraser Williamson, Sam Harper, Scott Smith, Ben Craner, Scott Hunter rounding out the top 10. Then it was Dave Christie, Brian Savage, Alan Gordon, and then who was 1 lap down. And then Brazier, unfortunately, didn't take the starts. He was 4 laps down, and Brown with a blown engine, and that could be quite significant for his wildcard places chances. Finishes in 15th place. As far as I'm aware, as far as I can see, the top 10 going into this round have been maintained. There was a 7-point gap between 10th and 11th, and I don't think anyone has bridged that. Halliburton was in 11th, so I think now 11th place is Ben Craner, moves from 13th to 11th. Then it will be Gary Brown in 12th. Then it will be Halliburton in 13th. And then Chris Staines perhaps in 14th, or maybe Brian Savage actually in 14th place. I'll let the organisers do those points, but that's just a bit of a reference. And of course, if you're in that top 14, you do boost your chances of a wildcard spot.
Ooh,
So
look at the
interviews
people.
with drivers, and yeah, we've got a few interviews. Usually we're the desert when it comes to interviews in this series, but we should have a nice chat with some of these drivers. At the moment, some of them got muted. In fact, actually, Ronald Grossman has now unmuted, so we'll have a chat with him. Congratulations, Ronald. Second place. Seemed like a little bit of a not a massively exciting race for you, but how did you find kind of the circuit, and how did you find the racing today?
Yeah, I was a little bit lucky at the start that I kind of was able to slot in behind Kevin and could stay out of the shenanigans behind me between Pete, Fraser, and Jack. So I got the gap quite at the start, at 2-3 seconds, and they lasted till the end. This combo was quite interesting. I didn't like it really at first. It definitely suits the car quite good. And in the end, once I got like the little tricks you have to do here on the small track, once I found out about them and how to do them, it was a really fun combo.
Yeah, absolutely. In qualifying, you were racing along. In fact, you had provisional pole for a moment, just 6/100ths off pole position. Was that an area which you were putting a lot of effort into during practice?
To be honest, not really, but turns out it's not the worst thing to get your PB in a qualifying when it matters. So I just had one of those wonder laps, those 1 in 1,000, and was quite happy about it.
Well, certainly a good time to deliver. And in terms of the semi-final now, I mean, you qualify comfortably. Will you be able to take part in the semi-finals? Yeah, in at Knockhill.
Last week I said I didn't know time-wise. Thing is, I probably will have the time, but it's kind of I won't be able to, unfortunately, because for one thing on the money issue, and also I wouldn't get a passport in time. But I guess someone I don't know who will be on P11, but I guess this driver will be happy that I slid out of the top 10 and they can move in. So I would love to be there, but unfortunately, it can be. It can be. But this whole qualifying series was fun nonetheless.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it's been great to watch you for the entire season. Ronald, is there anyone you'd like to thank before we let you go?
I want to thank once again the Rethink Racing guys I'm driving for as a guest driver. We had a lot of fun practicing for those races, and yeah, and of course you guys for the awesome broadcast. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ronald, and hopefully we'll see you back soon on Apex Racing TV.
Yes.
So that
Well,
was Ronald Grossman finishing in second place.
I'm going to take a gamble and try to bring
Oh,
down Kevin Ellis Jr., hopefully, if I can bring him down. Let's see if he's listening to us. Apparently he is. Hello, Kevin.
Hey guys.
So 444, congratulations, and certainly you head into the semifinals at No Kill with some good momentum behind you.
Yeah, for sure. That was the target coming in today. Was to go 4 for 4. Yeah, I knew coming in that qualifying was going to be close, a lot closer than other tracks, just with the lack of corners and complexities at the circuit. So I was kind of holding my breath for a bit there, but managed to get out a lap just good enough for pole. And I've never really been notoriously good at qualifying in the past anyway. So yeah, just to get on pole position, it was pretty straightforward from then on. Really got on well with the track car combo. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, I was just able to put down some really consistent laps, and I think it was probably the best I've driven consistency wise in a long time. So yeah, it was really good fun, and to go 4 for 4, it's couldn't really ask for much more, really.
But now, of course, the layout changes completely, because from the virtual racetrack, you have to translate everything you've done into the real world when you guys meet in Inokil in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, for sure. With the change in format, it's where we'll, obviously that's the whole point of this competition is to see who can go from the sim to the real world stuff. So, yeah, I mean, going in, I want to win. There's no other way of saying it. But at the same time, it's a completely different ball game. The sim is one thing. Real life is completely different. So a lot of things can transfer, but for the most part, the sim is very much its own discipline. So going into that, I've got a bit of go-karting experience. So we'll see. Not professionally, just kind of rental pickup stuff. But I used to do it quite a lot when I was younger. So I'm hoping that that would kind of bode in my favour, and obviously what I've done in these 4 qualifying rounds help with the whole selection process that's going to go on. So yeah, going into the semi-finals, feeling good. Just need to keep my head down and just take it one day at a time.
Awesome, Kevin. Once again, congratulations. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
So of course, a massive thanks to all of the guys on Apex Racing Team and the Evolution Racing Team. A massive thanks to all of the guys at SMRC for putting this together. You guys for the broadcast, and of course the Apex Racing Team sponsors Logitech G, SpeedCafe.com, SDK Gaming, and Simputers PC Systems.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Congratulations once again, and good luck at Nokia in a few weeks' time.
Cheers, guys. Have a good one.
And that was Kevin Ellis Jr. I think we can, Sam, complete the podium with our interviews.
Yes. Next up, we will have a chat with Peter Butcher. Congratulations, Peter. A podium out there. You were catching Ronald near the end. You just didn't quite have enough laps to get past.
Yeah, a little bit annoying in the end. It was just because I got kind of tangled up with Fraser at the beginning, and I wasn't able to kind of stay with Ronald at the start. I was being too cautious really, and just not wanting to chuck the car away, considering it was the last round and points are important. So it was a good race. I enjoyed it.
Absolutely. In those kind of first lap and a half or so, that battle with Fraser, as you were saying, was absolutely incredible. How would you? I mean, I don't know how much experience you've got in this car, but it seems to really be a good car to race.
The only experience I have is these four races, but this week's been pretty intense with practice. So we were a bit silly, and we just had a bit of a laugh with the car, and we've enjoyed practicing with it and practicing as a team. So we just put a few hours into it to see if we could try and close the gap to Kevin. We managed it, but he was still way away.
Yeah, he's not bad. It's Kevin, to be fair. He certainly did a fantastic job to get as close as he did, especially in qualifying, of course. In terms of the semi-final stages, then, I mean, some real life driving is going to be very important. Have you got much experience in real life motorsport?
Yeah, I'm in a kart team. I've got my own kart, so with a bunch of friends, we run our own pro kart chassis. We did the 24-hour at Teesside this year, so yeah, I've got a bit of karting experience. I'm looking forward to see how the semis go with that experience under my belt.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure you'll be very well prepared for it, and we wish you the best of luck, Peter. Is there anyone you'd like to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, cheers to you guys for streaming the whole season. The footage has been good. It's been cool commentary and stuff. Cheers to the SMRC, and thanks to my teammates at Rethink Racing.
Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Peter, and hopefully we'll see you soon on Apex Racing TV.
Cheers.
That was Peter Butcher rounding out the podium places. Marco, who are we going to have a chat with next?
Let's have a chat with, Fraser Williamson, which should be with us in a second. And there is, hello, Fraser.
Oh, hello there.
So, what an eventful race for you, including a little bit of contact after a very exciting battle. 6th place in the end. How was your race?
That was interesting to say the least. The race starts being surrounded by those pink, is it Rethink Racing whatever those cars everywhere trying to battle with them didn't go so well, and then just got stuck in that race long battle, like you said.
Um, what was your previous experience with this car, or because hearing that a lot of the drivers basically started to learn this car seriously for this championship and didn't have much experience with it before this 4 round event.
I think the last time I drove it must have been about 3 years ago, like rookie ovals. Apart from that, maybe a hosted race once a year. That's about it. But I've done 4 races in it, and I'm still not comfortable in it. So I think that says to how tricky a car it is on road, considering how slow it is.
And now that the season is over, the championship is over, at least the online part of it is over. What are your thoughts? How would you look back on this short season of 4 races?
If I didn't have technical difficulties, I think it would have been fine. So obviously I was running for a podium at Snetterton and top 4 or 5 at Silverstone. What other track did we go to?
Alton.
Thank you.
Park,
Yeah, that one. I was P2 until I triple downshifted into a chicane. Yeah, if I didn't make mistakes and have technical difficulties, it would have been good enough. But to know that my best result was 6th place, I think that's a kick in the ball, so to speak.
Well, Fraser, thank you for jumping in with us. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Well, the SMRC for bringing this esports event. I'm looking forward to the semi-finals if I make it. I think I did. You guys for bringing us the broadcasts. Everyone in the SimSA team, albeit we didn't do much this, but everyone helping out when they do. And yep, just everybody involved.
Thank you very much, Fraser, and we'll catch you soon. Have a good night.
Yep, thanks.
And I think Sam, we have time for one more, so pick your driver.
Yes, well, I think we'll have a chat with the next highest place driver, which was
Battle with
Sam
Sam
Corson,
Diarco.
who finished in 4th place. We rudely interrupt. We are terrible at that at Apex Racing Team. Still haven't nailed it. Congratulations, Sam, on 4th place. It was a tight battle, and in the end, you got a bit of a helping hand when Jack and Fraser made contact.
Yeah, I've been kind of fighting all season to get a bit of consistency, and I was just kind of trying to hang on to them. I was kind of really only going so quick because I was behind them, and then as soon as I was through, I knew I just needed to keep my head down and go, or Jack would catch me, because he's rapid in these cars. He seems to have a bit of natural talent, so yeah, I was quite worried for like the rest of the race that I was going to get caught and get past, but luckily I was able to keep my head down and just kind of stay issue free.
Definitely. The track temperature out there was 44 degrees to start off with, 43 by the end. Were you practicing in similar conditions, and did you kind of notice much of a difference because of the temperature?
Not really. I think we tend to practice with temperatures a bit warmer just in case. So I didn't really notice the difference at all. I actually set a PB during the race, so to me it felt fine. It felt grippy. Occasionally it would push a bit understeer, but apart from that, it seemed pretty consistent with kind of what we practiced with, which I think helped a great deal in keeping the 4th place.
And of course, you'll qualify for the semi-finals. Are you going to be able to take parts in the semi-final stage? And have you got much experience in real life motor racing?
Yeah, we kind of run our own kart team. It's UCK Motorsport. We tend to do like the British 24-hour. We've done the ROAS 6-hour. We've done stuff like that. So we do have a little bit real life experience. Not a terrible amount. We've just bought the karts. We kind of just brushed it all together this year to do the 24-hour. I think we finished 15th overall, which was quite good for our first go, considering we literally had no idea what we were doing. We didn't even have a van till the day before the race to get the cart there. So yeah, it was incredible, the British 24-hour. And yeah, I'll be at the semi-finals. I'm only about an hour and a half away from Knockhill, so it's not a terrible distance to drive.
Well, at least you'll be awake whilst everyone else will be sleeping from having to turn up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
That's
But
true.
Yeah, certainly. Hopefully they'll help you out. Great to chat to you, Sam, and thanks for having a chat with us. Is there anyone you'd like to thank before we let you go?
Just the whole kind of rethink racing, this kind of 4 races, just for bearing with me until I kind of got my grips back together and kind of got kind of used to driving quick again, because I kind of hadn't really sim raced since we all done LFS. So it was nice just getting back behind the wheel and just finally feeling consistent on this round.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having a chat with us again, Sam, and we'll see you hopefully soon on Apex Racing TV.
All right, cheers, bye.
I think we've got. Shall we have a chat with one more driver? We've got one more driver requesting an interview.
Take it away.
Awesome. Okay, we'll have a quick chat then with Jack Air. Means that we actually have all the top 6 drivers, actually, which not sure I've ever happened before. But congratulations, Jack. 5th
Thank you.
place. A really good battle with Fraser. I mean,
Yeah, it was
it
great fun.
unfortunately was a bit of contact near the end, but it
Yeah.
looks really fun from our perspective.
No, with these cars, you're always on the edge of grip anyway. For them being such a slow car with not much power, they're very, very hard to drive. With them being such a short wheelbase, and I don't know, it's quite easy to overheat the tires. You're always on the edge of grip though. But no, I thought the battle with Fraser was fantastic. I reviewed a bit of the footage. You know, I'd already at that point when he made contact with me, I was in a 4-wheeled slide as it is, just waiting for the car to come back to me. Because some of the downshifts can be quite tricky. So obviously, when I downshift, I'm blipping the throttle. Sometimes I blip the throttle and pull the downshift, and it can take another half a second. And then by the time it does actually downshift, you've lost your revs and it locks the rears. So no, obviously it was accidental, but you know it felt great battling with him for half the race. You know, it was good.
Yeah, definitely. In terms of kind of iRacing, what experience do you have in other cars, and what are you looking to take parts in the future?
So in terms of iRacing, I've only really started taking it serious the past like year or two. All the guys at Rethink Racing, we've done Le Mans, and we like our endurance races, so to speak. We'll be doing Daytona next year. And yeah, like I said, we've done Le Mans twice now. So the cars that I'm used to on iRacing would be like the 991, 911 GTE, I think. But yeah, no, these cars. I think the last time I drove a Legend was like 2014 rookie ovals, as I'm sure many others on taking part in this have as well. So no, it's a great car. Yeah, I like my open wheel things though as well as GT cars. I'm just a sucker for racing, I guess.
Absolutely, that's the best way to be. And of course, a fantastic real life racing opportunity coming up. Are you going to be able to take part in the semi-finals?
I am, yes. So all the guys that qualified and the 4 wild cards that we don't know yet, I'll be seeing them all. Hopefully, if they can all make it up at Knockhill in November. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. You know, even if I don't make the top 2, get any prize or anything, it's just great to be in the top 10. Because I see the guys that I'm racing against. My I rating is only about 2,100. Obviously, I don't think that's an accurate representation of how quick I am. I will say a lot of the times when I've been matched against other racers in iRacing, obviously I've sometimes dove in without any practice, and but I'm beating guys that have got 3, 4 KI rating. So no, just to be competitive in this series is a massive boost.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, Fraser, yeah, very accomplished, like 5K, I think, and top
Exactly,
split
yeah.
of many special events. So, no, very impressive to go toe to toe with him today. Been great to chat to you, Jack. Is there anyone you'd like to thank before we let you go?
Well, thanks first of all to the SMRC for putting this on, giving us all the opportunity to take part. Thank you to you guys as well, everyone at Apex Racing TV for making such an event of it every week. Top-notch commentary and things like that. And thanks to my teammates at Rethink Racing. I couldn't have done it without them. This is a combo I've been struggling at really, because I was faster than a lot of the guys at Snetterton, Alton Park. I couldn't quite keep up with them at Silverstone, and then I don't know. I don't quite click with Brands Indy, unfortunately. But yeah, no, it's been good, and they've helped me out no end. So thanks to them.
Well, congratulations again, Jack, for your 5th place today and also your qualification for the semi-finals of this event. And best of luck for the semi-finals at Knock Hill.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think with the points this week and the fact that I don't think Ronald can make it, who is second in the championship, that puts me just behind Kevin on points, I believe. So yeah, it's good. It's good.
Awesome. Well, best of luck for that.
Thank you. Take care.
So that was Jack Air finishing in 5th place today. So yeah, once again, Marco, unfortunately, end of the season, but a fantastic and exciting opportunity for 14 of these drivers to take going into Knock Hill in a couple of weeks' time.
Yes, absolutely, and it was certainly exciting to follow the you know the driving and the heroics of these drivers as they were all trying to find a place in the semi-finals. Like I said, we are waiting for the official standings. You can find them on the website you are seeing right now on your screen, smrc.co.uk. You will find, of course, the top 10 finishers, which we kind of have an idea of, and what we don't have an idea of, the 4 wild cards that will be competing in Knockhill in the coming weeks. It has been certainly a positive, something that I would really love to have more in sim racing, this kind of competition. It has been exciting and still thinking, maybe one of these drivers will be in, who knows in which kind of competition may come in the next few years in real life. It has been very exciting and hoping for more of this from other other organizations all over the world.
Yeah, definitely. We'll give a big thanks to the Scottish Motor Racing Club for setting up this series. And as you say, Mark, hopefully many other series will follow because no doubt that esports is a fantastic breeding ground for drivers. There's so many talented drivers who haven't quite been given the opportunity in real life racing, who are very competitive online. Yeah, certainly potentially very competitive professional drivers in the future. So thanks to Scottish Motor Racing Club for setting up the series. And yeah, hopefully, and best of luck, of course, for the 14 drivers who will be taking to the semi-finals in a few weeks' time at Knock Hill. But for now, from me and from Marco, we'll say goodbye and we'll see you next time.